Attention all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
People are away, school's out, and that's when you hold these incredible primaries. But also, we're still talking about this crime situation in Chicago and the refusal by Governor Pritzker for any help to stop the carnage of people, specifically on the South Side. Joining us right now, an interesting person to talk about this with, Jineea Butler, former congressional candidate, urban expert now. And Jineea, I mean, I'm sorry. The South Side of Chicago, my family's been there since 1840, okay? I'm a seventh-generation American.
A Jew in Chicago?
Yeah, German.
Since 1840?
Germans came in the 1840s.
Really?
Yeah, yes.
Wow, we learn new stuff all day.
And my great-great-grandfather was a big mobster, by the way. His name was Morris Eller. Also, and then became a politician, so maybe the same.
You're all over the place.
I'm all over the place.
My God.
But all kidding aside, the South Side has been written off for like 100 years almost, really, a really long time. And Jineea Butler, I'm sorry. If I were a mayor or a governor of a state where there was this kind of carnage, 40 people about shot and 9 or 10 of them passing away, I would take any help I could get. This has got to be the biggest slap in the face to people who live in these areas.
It is, and it's a slap in the face to the African American community. The people on the South Side, because they want help, right? And it's not happening. And why is it not happening? Somebody doesn't care somewhere along the lines, because the mentality of the people, a lot of the kids are homeless. And, when you're in Chicago, you actually go across the train track. And then when you go across the train track, it's like horrendous. It's like scary. It's like dark.
That's where the term comes from, wrong side of the track.
Exactly. I went over there. I was like, oh, my God.
That's right.
And so, but... with Brandon Johnson, Mayor Brandon Johnson, taking the helm, I think they just try to overlook it because we've already kind of been written off as a community. And I think that this is an underutilized community. And I think that we need to put this community back in the game and start focusing on what they can be instead of just watching them kill each other every weekend.
Jineea Butler, I'll say another thing. No incentive. These gerrymandered by racial categories districts have led to a complete disenfranchisement of most black voters in this country, potential voters. And that is why I've been saying it. I've been saying on this station for a couple of weeks now. The Supreme Court decision knocking down race as a reason to gerrymander a district, I think, could be the most liberating thing for black people in this country since the Civil Rights Act of 1964, because suddenly black people will no longer be a foregone conclusion. You have all these people dying in your district. I guarantee you that congressman or woman knows they're going to get reelected, live or dying. They're people living or dying. Suddenly, black people are going to become swing voters in a lot of states in this country, hopefully in Chicago too.
And we would actually love that. But right now, like you're saying, what's happening is that people are trying to keep jobs, right? So they are just looking to, be, the congressman in that black seat, right? You got mad at Trump for saying black jobs, but then as soon as you took away a black seat, right? It was something totally different in the whole conversation. But yes, there needs to be an urban reset across the board, and we need to look at and be able to be open to something it's just not working. The Congressional Black Caucus, when it started, I think that it started for the right reasons and the right things, but now the people are being manipulated across the board. The black vote is being manipulated, and they're not even teaching the community what they should be doing, how to organize, how to do anything. So, yeah, I think that it's okay.
Now, in the black community, the Democratic Party has changed since Barack Obama, and I don't understand why. Number one, before Barack Obama, Bill Clinton was president, the Democratic president, and 70%, 80% of the Democrats loved America. Now, post Barack Obama, post Joe Biden, 29%, was it 29%, Jake?
Yeah.
Of the Democrats love America. What the heck is going on here?
Listen, I'm not a Democrat, but I can say that, there's definitely a change. And then again, even with Barack, nobody knew that so many people were going to jump out, right, and go to vote, right? And just, it was the largest number of people to go to vote. And so that shows you that the people are paying attention, right? And I always say that the fact that the people are disconnected from the voter base is they're somewhat smart. They're saying, you're not engaging me, you're not doing anything, I'm not going to vote, right? And so, but the Democrats have used that now to their advantage. They're not going to get up. Just as long as they don't go vote for a Republican, we're okay. And we'll keep our jobs. And the few people that do go out and vote, the few people that do support us, we'll keep our jobs. We'll stay in power. And it's more about fighting, a black and white fight than it is changing these communities. And we just need a total urban reset across the board.
And the other thing is, we're trying to push, especially federal elections. And you ran for Congress in the federal election. One American, one vote versus
No illegals. We don't want to
no illegal voting
and no massive mail-in balloting. Please. It's not a secret ballot. How do we know that people? Again, it's a long story.
Well, and that's because they're starting to realize that the black community may change the party, right? So if the black community wakes up, which we're doing, they're starting to vote Republican. And now who's going to vote Democrat, right? Because if the black community comes out of the Democratic Party will never win again.
You mentioned the Congressional Black Caucus, and I had experience. I interned for 3 years for Congressman Floyd Flake, the former congressman in the Jamaica area, Reverend. He went back to full time running that church. I can tell you the only issues we were pounding were economic. Mm-hmm. And if you go to Jamaica today and you see all these nice stores now and the building up, thank Floyd Flake, because he was what was the committee he wanted to be on? Was it he wanted to be on the banking committee. Right. And he got pretty high up in the banking committee in his few terms in Congress. And then Gregory Meeks is kind of basically, in his chosen successor all these years he's been there. But you got to thank Floyd Flake for that. It was all about economic opportunity, not arguing about some of this other stuff that just didn't have anything to do with anything. You go to this election now here in Harlem, and you have one candidate, Darlisa Chevalier, all she is talking about Israel and how she hates Israel. What does that have to do with the fact that people want jobs, people want better transportation, and people want the end of shootings in their neighborhoods?
Well,
Nothing.
see, what's really happening is the people really don't know how to engage this population. They see that this is a population that may be manipulated, right? And so, like, I worked on Rikers Island, homeless services, youth services, and understand that this population will do the right things. But now when you have a whole bunch of people who don't know how to engage the population, who don't know what the population wants, and don't even care. At the end of the day, they again want the job. They just want to be in, they want to now come in with this socialist mentality and say, oh, yeah, this community will take it. We'll tell them that we're going to give them free stuff and they'll go along with it.
Jake, Ms. Butler, by the way, thank you for joining us today.
Live in the studio, by the way.
Yes.
We should make that clear.
It's very important to note that you have over 800,000 Hispanics in Chicago versus less than 800,000 blacks in Chicago. So the war on crime isn't just blacks, okay? It is Hispanics as well. A lot of immigrants have, after 2016, flooded into Chicago. So we need to understand that the violence is only going to stop when our government, incarcerates anyone that gets caught with an illegal gun. If you have a mandatory sentence of 5 years for anyone getting caught with an illegal gun, you will see that crime will drop dramatically, right? Because all you need to do is get caught with an illegal gun. It doesn't mean that you use the gun, but if you're carrying it, it means that you want to use the gun and you're going to intend to use the gun.
And we've done it before.
Yeah, but
successfully. We got rid of it. Two presidents back to back, Clinton and Bush, did something very smart. George W. Bush. Instead of going after the physical guns, they focused on the people who are most likely to have an illegal gun. In fact, George W. Bush increased that budget, and there were a bunch of new assistant U.S. attorneys who were hired. A friend of mine was one of them, who specifically just went after, instead of saying, let's go after the physical gun, which is ridiculous, let's go after the people who are most likely to be criminals using an illegal gun. And it worked. It worked, Fernando. So you're exactly right.
Jake, listen, in the state of New York, there was one governor that stood up to crime and criminals, and that was George Pataki. Okay, he signed into law that if you get caught with an illegal gun in New York, 3-year mandatory sentence. And guess what? Between him and Giuliani, they brought shootings and crime and gun-toting criminals. They brought it down to a record low. Now it's way up again. You know, we hear that crime is down in New York, but, you know, when you hear 4 kids getting shot in Harlem, another 5 getting shot in the Bronx, and this happens daily.
Yep.
You know, where is crime? Crime is still there. The use of illegal guns is still there. So in Chicago, you know, the governor there and the mayor there need to allow our president to bring in the National Guard in order to reduce crime. That's the bottom line.